even after about 6 weeks, I felt myself starting to drift with him while I was home with him all day long. And while it was wonderful to be able to take long walks with the stroller, I don't know how to explain it. I love my children. It's just that when I was with them for a shorter period of time, the time was much more focused. I had, things that I wanted to do with them as opposed to being there all day long. I don't think I would have done a good job with it. I think I would have got into volunteering, and I wouldn't have spent that much time at home anyway. So we were fortunate to find a good daycare, which was more of an education center, and I didn't feel like he was wasting his time. They had good structured activities for the kids, even as early as several months old. They were doing wonderful things with these kids that I never would have thought of doing. By the time he left this place, and started kindergarten, they were learning Spanish, they learned sign language, all these great things. I felt like it was a good use of his time, and then when we were together, I guess that does sound funny, doesn't it? But it's just, I think some people, you have to do what you feel, and sometimes you don't know it until you're right there in that situation, what's going to be good for you. I don't think you can decide ahead of time, but unless, some people are fortunate that they have that choice, that they can stay at home or work. Some people don't have the choice, and they've got to do it no matter what, but I think you don't really know until you're right there what's going to work best for you. Okay, Caprice?
I think theoretically I had that choice. After my husband and I had our first son, he said, you can stay home. And I thought about it for about 30 seconds and said, yeah, thank you. And I should explain that. Two things. One, I had invested so heavily in my education, and I had my son during my first job when I was at the law firm, and having gone through overnight and then paid, having had significant student loans associated with law school, I just felt an obligation to give myself an opportunity to explore the career that I had invested so much time and energy in. And then the second thing is I think I felt a sense of responsibility for my husband and his career. I didn't want him to have that responsibility for managing a household on his career and his income. He's a public school educator. And so I just wanted him to have space in his career to make some choices as well. And I thought that we would have an opportunity to balance that if we could both try to do this. I think the biggest decision for me really related to timing. I always thought I would have a family, but I also went to law school and thought you had to make partner first, and actually had been told that. And so the questions really related to timing. When do you start your family? How do you manage this? Because as Lisa and others have pointed out, life happens and you can't plan it perfectly, and then you just adjust. You really have to adjust.
There's been a lot of conversation about balance. So as you look at your lives, how have you been able to navigate the responsibilities of home, community, and work? And what impact, if any, have your children had on your career journeys? Lisa?
Yeah, my favorite comment around the house and around work is I need a wife, and I mean that with all due respect to what being a wife means. But it is, you realize that the norm is what you make it, as I said earlier, that I think doing things that are a little different is fine. We have breakfast for dinner. And it's like, the first time I did it, I thought, this is so terrible, making scrambled eggs. And then I thought, you know what, my kids only know what I make of this. They only know my own reaction to how I perceive my day in, day out responsibilities. So if I come home every night like, oh, I'm so sorry I was at work late. Oh, I'm so sorry I couldn't make your play. I'm so sorry I was so sorry of that. They're going to think Mom hates her job. This is a terrible thing. If I come home during the day and say, guess what, guys, I got to make a presentation today and I won a great deal. Or guess what, it's breakfast for dinner night. It's a good thing because you love bacon and bacon. It's all about the perception. So when I think of juggling, having a supportive partner, whoever that partner is tremendous. Having a partner who understands that breakfast for dinner is a good thing, and trying to fit the things in where you can fit them in is really important. So Sunday night, Saturday night, unless we have a bank event to go to, we cook a big dinner. And we'll try to do that one night during the week, and we make enough that we've got leftovers, and then there's breakfast for dinner, and then there's one night that we meet out somewhere, and it doesn't look normal, and you ask people for help, you ask friends to take people places, your kids are usually here or there, you're almost like a traffic director half the time, certainly as they get older and you're trying to make things work, but I think at the end of the day, the impact that my children have had on my career is in helping me be more organized. That's all perception though, but there's a relative level of organization that takes you to a new place. And when you're at work, you have to be more efficient because there's other things that you need to do and get done. And it's helped me broaden my perspective on what a career is, because it's not just about what I do during the day. My career spans 24 hours every day.
So, impact of children on career, and one other word to put in this conversation is guilt. I think we as women can jump to that place of guilt, and I like that. There's a different perspective. Yes, it's great to have scrambled eggs for dinner. So, Caprice, do they impact your career?
Absolutely. I think my children impact my career. They impact it currently. They've impacted the choices that I've had to make from time to time. I have made career decisions or moved from one position to another, and candidly, one of them was specifically because I didn't have an image or a model of two working parents in the same, in the structure in which I was in. And, once I was at a consulting firm, and that was the struggle, and I was looking around and trying to find balance, and actually had gone to part-time, so 4 days a week. But to stay on that progression, to get to partnership, you could just tell it was going to require a lot more. And so ironically, I went to talk to one of my mentees, and he was a man. I mean, he is a man. And he said, ironically, what stuck out is he was a partner at another consulting firm, a competitor firm, and he listened very patiently to what I was describing, and he said, I want you to understand that's the nature of the consulting practice. You have to make some choices. And he then expressed his own remorse, having made partner, and then on what he missed out in his own lifetime. And he had a stay-at-home wife. And that really had a profound impact on me, because then I felt liberated, if you will, free to start to make some decisions where I didn't have to feel such angst around making those choices. But my children certainly have an impact on my career. They are very supportive, and I think, much to Lisa's point, I agree. I really, because I have boys, I want them to have a balance, if we can, or a reasonable image of what two people trying to make this, cobble this thing together and give their all to this family will have. And I realize part of that is having a really healthy understanding of women, and a healthy understanding of what women can accomplish if they have some partnership. Now, I couldn't do this without my husband. He's a great partner in this. But that is important to me, and the boys get it. They get it. We do enjoy scrambled eggs for dinner. But they also, as a result of that, can really treasure the time that we do spend together. I cook dinner one time a week. It's always on Sunday. And the unwritten rule is they're just going to wait. That dinner might be served at 10 o'clock on Sunday night, and it might not be that appetizing. It just depends on how they're going to wait, and they're going to enjoy it, and they're going to applaud me and give me my kudos. But they're really the biggest advocates for my husband and I. And I didn't tell them I was coming to dinner, but I'll tell them afterwards.
How about you, Cindy? How have you navigated the roles? Well, I think I've been very fortunate to have a spouse who's a very equal partner at the home. And the boys grew up calling it Daddy's vacuum cleaner, as a matter of fact. But you know, you find new levels of not just balance, but of multitasking, and in terms of, you know, when you develop hobbies that the kids will also enjoy, so that when you're taking vacations together, you can enjoy the hobbies together. So you're having your own playtime, but then you know that your kids are having a good time as well.